Mr. President, on behalf of the Irish Government, I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to celebrate our National Day with the Irish diaspora here in the United States. For Irish people and for those of Irish descent all over the world, no matter where they happen to be, this is a time when we collectively celebrate who we are as a people. And nowhere is our day, St. Patrick's Day, celebrated more enthusiastically than here in the United States. Where there are, of course, 35 million Americans who claim Irish ancestry. So when you come from a country of 5 million, 35 million is a pretty big party. And on Saturday, Mr. President, I'm going to be in your hometown, in New York, where I'm going to have the honour of walking down Fifth Avenue in the world-famous St. Patrick's Day Parade. I think events like this, the White House reception, and parades around the country on Saturday remind us of the ties that bind our two countries together. They're ties that are rooted in our shared history. And as you said yourself, Mr. President, in the proclamation for the Irish-American Heritage Month, the tenacious Irish spirit, paired with American self-reliance, helped this country to become great. And that's a contribution that we're very proud of. The portrait of your first president, George Washington, looks down on us in the East Room. And President Washington called Ireland the friend of my country in my country's most friendless times. And his prayer was for the sun of freedom to shed its benign radiance on the Emerald Isle and bring her prosperity and peace. So I think for George Washington, we were the strangers who mustered around your flag. We supported the cause of American freedom from the very start, and we shed our blood to help make it a reality. And in the same way, the United States has helped to build modern Ireland, one that is prosperous and at peace, self-confident about our place in the world, no longer an island on the edge of Europe, but an island at the centre of the world. In my own office, I keep and I treasure a small collection of speeches and letters by one of your greatest presidents, President Lincoln. And sometimes when there's a crisis or a controversy and there's no obvious solution to it, I find wisdom in the words of that first great Republican president. President Lincoln believed, as he said, when we talk, we are only repeating what we already know. But if we listen, we may learn something new. As you know, President Trump and I had a very good meeting earlier on today. And I think by talking and listening, we both learned things that will help our two countries move forward together. President Lincoln was memorialized in verse for all time by the poet of your national imagination, Walt Whitman. And Whitman, writing about Ireland, described it as an isle of wondrous beauty, and our people as a people who weathered the storm to cross the Atlantic. These were men and women and children who found refuge and safe harbour in the United States. They chose the New World to escape oppression, hunger and poverty, and endured the harsh and dangerous crossing of the Atlantic Ocean. They arrived in a new republic where they were given the opportunity to create a new future for themselves and their family. They were allowed to follow their dreams, and those dreams became American. And so the story of the Irish in America is very much as American as it is Irish. And today the Irish diaspora is found in every state, every city, every neighbourhood, every rural area in this country. They have prospered in politics and business and the arts and in the service of the fellow Americans. And many are here today, including members of my own family from New Jersey. And of course, many Irish, as you know, serve in the White House today as well. So I want to thank you, Mr. President, for the really excellent meeting that we had this morning in the Oval Office. We had a really worthwhile exchange of views on important issues like trade and security and migration. And I know that the Irish people who've made their lives here, including those who are undocumented and living in the shadows, love this country dearly. They have the same dream as the men and women who inspired Washington, who fought for Lincoln, and work aside you today. And they want to continue to contribute to the life of this great country and continue to play their part. So I want to assure you all, Mr. President, that the Irish government will continue to work with you and your administration to find a solution to this important issue, and we're ready to do a deal. I also believe that Ireland of today can act as a bridge between this great country and the European Union, and more than ever, we can be a strong and effective partner for America. Our economic relationship, as you know, is increasingly a two-way street. Irish firms now employ 100,000 people across 50 states. And since you took office, Mr. President, 59 Irish companies have made new investments in this country. So we're bringing jobs, and good jobs, to America. And every single week, we trade about $2 billion in goods and services back and forth across the Atlantic. And we want that to grow. More trade, more investment, more jobs, going in both directions in a balanced and fair way. So in the spirit of the long and close relationship between our two countries and our two peoples, it is my very great pleasure to present this year's Shamrock Bowl to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all.